I'm joined by a guest this time, and not just any guest. I'm here with Mr. Every nickname in the fucking book, pretty much every night of the week, Rob Van Dam.
And I appreciate that reminder that I can say whatever the fuck I want on your program.
You can, absolutely, you can. You can say anything you want. This is uncensored, you know, just like your new show.
Very uncensored, unfiltered, candid, honest, open, genuine.
Just like you said 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there's no creative writers writing his stuff anymore. It's all from the heart. Just like this show, it's from the shoot from the hip, and
that way I'm in control of only saying what the fuck I want to say.
Exactly, exactly.
Nobody puts words in my mouth anymore.
That's good. Yay.
Or anything else in my mouth. Not that they ever did. But
Right.
I just say that doesn't happen.
Well, you know, we
Still.
did get rumors, but no, I'm just kidding.
Still doesn't happen.
Anyway. We have a lot of questions from you from our various fans around the world, and the first one is about the Raw 15th anniversary special that you made a one-night comeback against.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? Okay.
No, I don't remember the 15-year anniversary.
Okay, well, do you remember coming out and facing Santino Marella in a squash?
Absolutely. What would they like to know about it?
They like to know what you thought of the reaction of it.
The reaction from the crowd, of course, was a very positive reaction. It was one that I hoped for, you know, and I count on getting that reaction so I can feed off that energy, but I can never expect it. You know, I can never know for sure this is how it's going to go off. So I'm ready to go through the curtains, you know. WWE called me, wanted me to do this 15-year anniversary show. Win-win situation for me.
Absolutely.
They actually presented it to me like, well, the writers had this idea. I don't think you're probably going to want to do it, though. And that's because they know I don't want to travel. I don't want to go to the other side of the country. I'm trying to stay in L.A. But after hearing the whole story, I said, you know what? You know, this could work. You know, it could be good. Go out there, be seen by everybody, get a lot of energy, give it back, you know. Of course, start the rumors flying. RVD's back. So I'm getting ready to go through the curtain, and I'm thinking, okay, I know that fans are going to be cheering for RVD. They always do. Of course, last I remember, Monday Night Raw was displaying all of the ECW wrestlers as heels. We were all portrayed as being bad guys because that was their ingenious efforts to kick off ECW, was to make us all hated by the Raw crowd, their most popular show. So that was in my mind. You know, I went out there. It was so damn quick. You know, I hit him with the frog splash. RVD. Everybody went nuts. I forgot it was a match. It was so quick, man.
Right.
I'm celebrating with the fans. I looked over and Mike Keogh, the referee's looking at me, getting ready to make the count. Like, Rob, are you going to cover him?
I remember that.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah, because you hit the splash, jumped up to the pose, and everybody's going, is he going to cover him? What is he doing? Oh, yeah, okay.
I forgot that it was an actual match. I'm thinking in my mind, you know, I don't wrestle for these guys anymore, so it's like a run-in, which I thought it would be when they talked about it being a match. At first, I thought, wait a second. I was like, oh, what's the difference except for what I'm wearing? So I throw my knee pads on, I'll just go out there and do the same thing. But unfortunately, in my mind, it was still a run-in. But it was all good. It's all good. Got the 3 count.
It worked out. It worked out. Yeah.
Another win for RVD.
Absolutely.
Fans are always surprised at my win-loss record on the way out. Even still winning them now that I'm already out. Not bad, huh?
Not at all. Not at all. In the past interviews we've done with you on NoDQ.com and on your DVD itself, on One of a Kind, you mentioned that your favorite matches were with Jerry Lynn. Was he your favorite worker to work with, or was there somebody that you put above him now? Now we're looking at the twilight of your wrestling career, and you're moving on to the acting and, you know, doing your own show and everything. Can you look back and still say Jerry Lynn was my favorite opponent, or do you have?
As far, yes. There's some elaboration on it because I don't give short answers, you know that.
Absolutely not, and we don't expect you to. Please.
I have had a match since then that would be considered my crowning moment, but when I wrestled Jerry Lynn, there was something special that never happened any other time. We both brought something out of each other, we brought it out of ourselves, and the spirit of competition that those matches produced was something that it was just unmatchable. It never, it couldn't be duplicated. If somebody was going to watch one match of mine, I would say, watch RVD versus Jerry Lynn. This is what I want you to see. This is an exhibition of my skills and talents, because that's what a pro wrestling match is. You know, it's a showcasing of what you got. And me and Jerry would go out there. We would definitely show everything that we had. We'd come up with some things we didn't have, you know, and we'd pull it all out. I had a match since then, ECW One Night Stand with John Cena, when I won the World Championship. Yep. And now I call that my crowning moment for a few reasons. Not just because I was crown the WWE champion, because that was never something that was a goal of mine. I never thought that would happen.
Right.
I knew that I'm a certain way. I'm very independent in such a way that I knew that I would be limited in WWE because of the way that I carry myself, the way I do business, just, you know, honestly, my own personal integrity, everything that's involved. I know that to get up to the top in WWE, there's certain things that you do when you stick to the formula. Traditionally, you know, you politic, you kiss ass. Eventually, after you can't get up any higher, you hold everybody else down. You cut their throats, you stab them in the back, you smooch the writers and tell them, you know, this is why you should go with me, it's not that guy. I was never going to do any of that, so I was always fine with however high I would get on the card. That would be it. That would be RVD's destiny. It was about me connecting with my fans. Once I go through those curtains and the people are chanting RVD and they're expecting me to match up to the standards that I've helped them set for me, that's what it's all about at that point, you know. So winning the World Championship wasn't something that was necessary. It wasn't even a goal. It wasn't something that I planned on doing. The reason it was so cool for me was the way it went about, because as I said, traditionally through the WWE formula, that wouldn't have happened. What I did was I brought back the ECW, I brought back the extreme elements, the hardcore showcasing that was my best environment. That's what made me stood out. That's what gave me the advantage over every other wrestler, was being in the anything goes rules, which means that I can use my creativity, bring in a chair, you know, and find creative ways to entertain the crowd, new moves, in and out of the ring, fighting in the crowd, whatever. Besides that, I brought back ECW on WWE's stage. That meant the whole world now could watch ECW, which it couldn't before. It was harder for them to see.
Exactly.
And they get to see me being seen the way that I want to be seen, the way I miss being seen, ECW style. So for all that to come together and have that one-of-a-kind crowd in Manhattan that totally was behind everything that I stood for, 1,000%, and at the same time 1,000% against everything that John Cena stood for. That's why that crowd, you know, was so devoted and committed towards me winning that match, for everything that was on the line, for all that it stood for. That was a crowning moment for sure, and of course it puts RVD down in the pages of history.
Absolutely.
If I wasn't there already.
How was it for you to have Sonya there up in the balcony waiting for you to come up and celebrate with her? How cool was that for you personally?
It was way cool. You know, she didn't know that I was going to come up there afterwards. You know, she was totally surprised by that. And she misses ECW too. You know, she's not a big wrestling fan. She didn't watch wrestling before I met her, you know. Which is great, you know, she appreciates my efforts and the work that I put into it, but when she's at the ECW show, she's having a good time, you know. Right, it's great to see her having fun. And that was my moment, you know. So when I had the World Championship belt, all the ECW wrestlers came out, you know, to hug me and congratulate me. I wanted to go up there and celebrate with Sonya, and it was really cool that she was there, and it stood out in a lot of people's minds. You know, people tell me that all the time, you know, or they'll see her and say, hey, I remember you. And that's very important for me, because obviously Sonya is a huge part of my story. You know, there's nothing else in my life that's more important to me than my wife and my relationship with her. And that's something that when given the proper time and the proper place to talk about it, that's one of the things that I have a lot of experience in, that I can help other people in. Sonya and I have been together 12 years this month.
Wow.
Yeah, and everywhere we go, we still hear from people all the time, you know, are you guys newlyweds? How long have you been married? And that's awesome. Our relationship is like magical. You know, that's something, one of the many things I think I can help a lot of people with. You know, I have a lot of skills outside of just kicking people and doing backflips in the ring. That's why I'm taking a break from that. And I'm exercising a lot of other interests and exploring a lot of other things inside here, and enjoying other things in my life and in the world. And a lot of this part of my path has to do with reaching out to people and inspiring people and motivating people, whether it's with spiritual awareness or positive energy or relationships. I mean, that's something that I'm definitely qualified to talk about.
Absolutely. So 12 years, you guys got together right around the same time you debuted in ECW, man, 1996, early 1996.
It was close. I actually started with ECW prior to meeting Sonya. I remember that, but it wasn't long. In my mind, I kind of think of her and going to ECW, and now this hardcore crowd, you know, and the loud rock music and all that. I kind of, in my mind, remember all that as being, you know, like a big turning point in my life. Yeah.
Cool, very cool. Well, we mentioned John Cena earlier. There's a question from one of the fans here. His name is Drew. He wants to know, is John Cena worth all the hype that's laid upon him?
You know, who am I to say, really? Because
yes.
Wow. That was Jade, everybody.
Go.
There's Jade's answer. She loves John Cena. You know, it was funny. We didn't like him at first, and then, you know, we saw him in The Marine, that movie, and for some reason, we grew to like him. I don't know what it was, but the performance in that movie was like, you know what? He's not that bad an actor, and his skills have gotten better. He's still doing the same old shit a lot, but he's doing a lot more new stuff, too. So, you know, it seems to me that he may not be worth as much hype as everybody thinks he is, but he is definitely worth something to Vince and to WWE. Otherwise,
no doubt,
he wouldn't be in the spot he's in.
He is the front man of, you know, WWE, and that's his position. You know, I've always liked John, you know, and what he stands for, just like that ECW crowd at One Night Stand knew. They knew that what I stood for, you know, was anti-tradition, anti-WWE. You know, what I stood for was thinking outside the box, for making wrestling something that's enjoyable and cool, even with the hippest crowds that aren't even wrestling fans. That's what ECW was for me, and that's how I felt when I was in there in the ring. I'm doing things that when people are watching it, they're not going, I could do that. No, I could do that. Hell no. People watch my ECW matches like, oh my God, that would kill me. And they know there's no way they would survive one of my matches, because I'm out there to show that and to prove that and to give that every single time. And that's what ECW is about. Now, with WWE, which John Cena is a perfect representation of, it's totally different. You know, it always has been. The guys that Vince McMahon has gotten behind for his #1 guy to be the symbol of WWE or WWF. It's always been a wrestler character that he created. Always has been, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, you know, back to the Hulkster. It always, I mean, that's the way it is. And John Cena fits into that. He's young, you know, in great shape, and Vince loves him, obviously. You know, I mean, look at last year. I mean, John Cena had more endorsements than probably any other pro wrestler I can remember.
In a long time, anyway, yeah.
I see him everywhere. I see him at Bally's, a cardboard cutout saying, join Bally's, you know, and you see him doing the Subway commercial, and you see him just everywhere, you know. And he's wrestling, and he's got his, I think, his hip-hop CD or whatever he did, you know, and his movies and stuff. He's doing great, and for what his job is, representing the WWE, he's obviously great for that, and Vince obviously is totally behind him, and enjoys putting him out there to people to say, this is what WWE is. To put RVD out there and say this is what WWE is, I would never expect that. And quite honestly, I don't even think I would really necessarily appreciate that, because I like standing out, being individual, being one of a kind, and I would feel more complimented if I was told this is what WWE should be or could be or something like that, you know.
When you were on top of the WWE, when you were WWE and ECW champion, did you still feel that you were taking the backseat to Cena during that whole reign? Because, I mean, for the 3 weeks you were champion before the arrest and the drug bust and everything like that, you were on top of the world. You were holding both titles, the WWE title and the ECW title. You were main eventing pay-per-views at one point. And did you still feel like Cena was still, as far as in Vince's eyes and WWE's eyes, just that step above you, or did you feel like you were given the ball?
Well, first off, there was never any doubt to myself, to Paul Heyman, to Tommy Dreamer, to any of the guys that were really on top of this movement and paying attention. There was never any doubt that Vince was always going to see his WWE boys as being closer to him, more important to him, and a step above ECW. The whole time since ECW came out as a third brand, it was always held down. It was always put on the back burner. There was always less put into it. When Paul and I were on an overseas trip before Paul left, on a nightly basis would get together in the hotel room and just like pull our hair out at everything that happened that night to try to reduce the amount of impact that ECW could have. Here we were in Italy and England, and we had a chance, you know, to be overseas to show these people, you know, yeah, we brought ECW back. Here's this different product that we have. We want to show you what it's about. And they did everything they could to hold it back. Everything from even just from having tiny little letters or no mention whatsoever that ECW was on the card, to positioning on the card, to even like before the first ECW match, they'd make sure some SmackDown guys came out and fought with a chair all over outside the ring and everything without a count out. They did so many little things that maybe would go over people's heads that aren't paying attention, but it would drive us nuts, insane. We'd be so frustrated because we knew what ECW could be as an alternative, you know, something different, and they were so not doing that, and it was so obvious that a lot of the agents resented ECW, a lot of the boys resented ECW. Get with the program. Vince bought it. It's now WWE's, you know, get behind it. Let's make some money with it and quit trying to bury it. I mean, did they really bring it back just to kill it, just because it stood for anti-WWE back then? Because that's horrible business.
Yeah, because it seems like now that the ECW brand, the ECW show, is nothing more than just that, a third brand of WWE programming.
And if you had to rate them, you know, 1 through 3, ECW is definitely on everybody's list going to be like number 3, right? Nobody's going to say, well, I think that's the better of the 3 shows. No. How could they even think that? What they started doing when I was there was sending some of the top superstars from Raw or SmackDown to compete on ECW, thinking they're drawing more attention to it, and all they did was water the product down even more than it was, make it more confusing. Wait, who's in ECW? Am I in ECW? I didn't even know after a while, you know? Yeah. Honestly, I was in my own world. I didn't feel like no more attention's being put on Cena, this or that, whatever. When ECW was there, when it first came out, and when I had the championship title, the spotlight was on me, and it was up to me to get people to pay attention. Nothing else mattered to me, really. I mean, that was the last time that it was really fun for me.
How far into the re-debut of ECW did you decide after my contract's up? That's it.
Well, it wasn't long into it, you know, that I was contemplating that. I was burnt out. I wasn't enjoying traveling whatsoever. I loathe traveling. I still do. Getting on an airplane every day, renting a car, driving to some town I don't want to be in, thinking of how nice and sunny it is in California when I'm in Minnesota to do a backflip and a spin kick for the same crowd that I felt like I've already been here and done that like 40 times already, you know. And honestly, it became meaningless for me, which is why I needed to get away. You know, I was burnt out. I don't want to tear apart wrestling and insult wrestling fans. You know, they're one and the same. My fans are wrestling fans, so I'll never do that. But for me, I needed to get away. You know, wrestling wasn't cutting it for me. You know, I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't interested in it, and then eventually I wasn't even having fun with it anymore. I wanted to be somewhere else. It was the week of WrestleMania that I made up my mind 100% for sure. And I was on the fence about it, you know, like I'd go back and forth. Gosh, you know I don't want to commit and re-sign and be thrown back into a prison sentence for another 2, 3, however many years, because that's what it's like. Slam that door behind me. I just signed the contract. You put the rest of your life off until you're done with the contract, you know. Right. It's not like you really get to see your home and your family and all that. You don't. Not when you're on top selling tickets and when you're someone, you know, that they're using it and that they have you know, interest in. So it was actually WrestleMania weekend that I was doing a lot of soul searching. I had been involved with studying spiritual awareness and growing my inner connection for like about 2 years at that point. It was actually, you know, probably since our last interview that I really got into it. I've always been considered a spiritual kind of person, but the last few years I've really invested a lot of time into growing my understanding and my connection and my path, and that is what ultimately told me, do not resign. I mean, everything was laid out so clear for me. I was in my hotel room and I was studying this journal that I'd been writing all these coincidences in, like for the last I don't know, 6 months to a year, whatever. I'd never gone back and read it. And I read this thing in a certain way to read it backwards to see if things were falling into place or if I was willing them by my frequency that I was vibrating at, which is the law of attraction. I don't know if you've heard about The Secret. I'm a firm believer in the book and the DVD, The Secret. It's a big part of my life too. It helped change my perspective. I highly recommend it. It's not for everybody, but for someone like me and my like-minded brothers that I've also used that to help out, it totally brought us into enlightenment. And anyway, WrestleMania week, I had my answers so clear. It was like my journal was talking to me. I understood everything so clear. I was covered with goosebumps, and I kept calling Sandman's hotel room and bothering the shit out of him. He's trying to sleep. All right, I'll let you sleep this time, dude. I just had to share that with you. I'd hang up, and I'd be looking through, and I found a list that I wrote a year ago of what my own personal preoccupations are. In other words, distractions from the big picture, things that I invest too much energy into that keep me off of looking at where my path is supposed to be,
Right,
and I was looking at that, and it was just like so clear, and it just made, and it all coordinated and made so much sense. I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I called him back, Sandman, I know I said I'd let you sleep, but dude, I gotta share this with you. And I would tell him, because he understood, because I got him spiritually aware. Sean Stasiak is one of my spiritual brothers. I have another one in Massachusetts, and like throughout the day we text each other messages or email just to check on people's energy. Hulk Hogan is a new spiritual brother of mine too.
Really?
Sometimes just for spiritual energy, just send like a little message, he'll send one, I'll send one, whatever, how's everything going? It's a great fucking day to be alive, isn't it, brother? Hell yeah, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for health, my family, this weather. What are you grateful for? Okay, great. Put us in that attitude of gratitude, which is really where you have to be to have your energy up, and in order to actually see what's there for you, the guidelines and bumpers of your path. It's all a study, but it's something that obviously I'm deep into, and I find commonalities with a lot of my other friends, and I've been able to help a lot of them through my own experience as well.